And welcome to the Talon Outdoor Show. I'm Charlie.
I'm JD.
I'm Fred, and
I'm Dennis.
Okay,
And I'm Grant.
Mr. Paul, Captain Paul's over there too. So there's a story behind that beginning. We're sitting here.
I wouldn't want to talk.
We're sitting here. Can we play back what Jake? No, not on the radio.
Oh, boy. Probably not on any platform available out there other than maybe one of them that Fred looks at.
yeah.
We were getting here. I got this hearing aid fixed on this side, on your side. And before the show, JD was telling a story, and he gets animated sometimes. And I had my headphones off. And in that now good ear with that good speaker, JD can get loud.
Go ahead. Get it started again.
You can get a little loud. And so I put my headphones on. I'm used to being on the gun range where I put headphones on to mute the sound a little bit. But it didn't help any because you were loud into the microphone. I see the family-friendly version of the middle finger there.
That is the family-friendly.
That's so anyway, so that was what the whispering was about. That's JD being a smarty pants over here.
No, I'm sitting over here trying to get some points on my Zen, with my phone.
Zen.
And I was paying attention to that and not really paying attention to what was going on over there.
Is that like synthetic snuff you got there?
Yeah. And all of a sudden I hear from Charlie go, Hey, Grant, you want to turn that microphone down for when JD gets excited?
See, you pegged the mic even more than I did. I can't do that either.
And then I got it. I showed him excited.
Yeah, you showed him what excitement was.
Anyway, all right, so we got DT back in the studio today.
Pleased to be here. Thank y'all for having me.
Yeah. He's the national sales manager for law enforcement corrections for Lasershot. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. It is.
Okay, yeah. And we're not really here to talk about Lasershot today. We've got to be friends with DT and just wanted you to come be on the show. We might talk a little bit about that and some of the value that's got. But anyway, so Fred just got back from vacation.
Got back from the Bahamas.
They let you come back.
They did. So, it's a story. It's a story worth telling.
Is it?
Yeah. So
is it one we can't?
You only
tell?
shared one video, and that was you pole dancing on the rum.
Yeah, the pole dancing.
Now,
on
when
the rum
you're getting out of hand when your wife has to pull you off the pole.
Oh,
that happened.
Honey, you got this. You got to consider. Yeah. That's enough.
And you would think his wife would be very used to being embarrassed by him in public places. So
she let it go on for about.
Well, she goes in public with him. That's pretty much
minutes.
a given.
And we were amongst friends, and it's supposed to be what happens in the Bahamas stays in the Bahamas until Instagram got a hold of it, and now it's all over the place.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I see Fred proposing to his wife. Will you marry me? She goes, you know what? Life would be a lot simpler. What the heck? I'll just give up now. So you make me laugh.
Well, we were talking about him not having no lit elf down there, not having mostly rum in the Bahamas.
Yeah, it's
That's
a bunch of rum.
The drink of the Bahamas.
Pretty much.
Rum will do that to you.
Rum will cause you to think you can do things that you really can't do.
Yeah.
Like reach that top shelf.
Yep.
Did you get all rummed up and do the Captain Jack Sparrow run?
I did. I said the word "arg" many times.
Wow.
And several people had turned around and said, "Would you just shut up?" And of course, my response was "arg." So we were supposed to leave and go down on Tuesday and spend the night Fort Lauderdale, get up next morning, and we'd be there for the whole day. And we're sitting around Sunday getting packed and all that, and my wife comes in and said, "We got a problem." I'm like, "What's the problem?" "Passport's expired." So I'm like, well, that's going to be a problem.
That's a problem.
So we get a hold of the consulate, whatever, in Miami. And they say, yeah, if you come down here a day early, you can get a same-day passport. Mm-hmm. So they give us all the instructions, and we ended up spending a couple of days in Miami.
Lucky you.
Yeah. Have you ever tried to drive in Miami?
Yes. Normally, when I have to go to Miami, and I do have to go to, not as often as I used to, but my in-laws, my wife's from there. Her sister still lives down there, so occasionally we go down there. And normally about Broward County, I pull over to the side of the interstate and get out and put my wife behind the wheel because she grew up driving down there. But I know the Sawgrass Expressway, some of those. Oh my gosh!
I mean, they cut you off. They pull out in front of you. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
They walk out in the middle of the road and shoot birds at you, and I mean, it's just nutty.
Yeah.
And so we go to the passport office. That's a lovely place too.
I can only imagine
because nobody, we're the only English speaking people in there, and also the only people that actually knew how to fill out a form. So because all the people who were waiting in front of us couldn't fill out a form, and there was a group of like these mimes, the people that do the thing with their hands and and ended up getting kidnapped by a group of mimes, and they did unspeakable things to me. So we get
It's a slow roll.
So we get the passport, get on the plane, land in Marsh Harbor, and then it was like decompression.
Yeah, instant island time.
Yeah, so we were over on Elbow Cay, I think it's spelled K, C-A-Y.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it's British, and they drive on the wrong side of the road. And you don't drive cars, you drive golf carts. And like if you want a lunch, there's some guy with a hut stand making conch salad. There's no FDA or anything down there, and it's some conch that he just went and pulled out of the water, and he's up there cutting it up. I might have been alive for all I know. And he's throwing some salad in there with it, and
there you go.
That's your lunch. And
was it good?
It was good.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like the Bubba Gump of conch. I had fried conch, grilled conch, lime conch, boiled conch, coconut conch, some other kind of conch. That's about all the conch.
I love conch fritters.
Conch fritters. Yeah, had them.
They're good. They're fantastic.
And I mean, it's real conch. I mean, like fresh conch, not frozen conch.
Yeah, right out of the water, fresh off the boat.
Yeah. Well, I mean, somebody they don't even put in a boat. The dudes just come swimming up with his fins, and he got a sack full of conch.
Here you go.
Like, oh, okay. I mean, there's no inspecting the conch. They don't have a grade A or.
Well, I'll tell you this. Speaking as somebody who got food poisoning in a third world country, which Costa Rica is most assuredly a third world country, with some nice houses that you can rent and stay in and go fishing and go to the beach in. But that's the only thing kept me from going to the hospital after getting food poisoning down there when we were down there was the fact that I had driven by the hospital the day before. Because if I'd have been anywhere else on the planet, or even if I had not seen the hospital, I would have gone to the hospital.
Sounds like a little food poisoning with some staff to go with it.
Dude, let me tell you, I mean, that it was, like I said, I'm like, I told my wife, I said, I really feel like I need to go to the hospital. And she says, well, let's go. And I said, no, don't you remember riding by the hospital yesterday? And she said, no. And I said, yeah, it was the one where all the livestock was out in the front there. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to the hospital here. There's just, it's not going to happen. Not unless I get snake bit or something that I ain't got a chance of surviving. But yeah. So you didn't get sick or nothing. That's a good thing.
No, well, they when you go to breakfast, they give you rum punch. I mean,
that kills all the stuff. Yeah. The rum kills everything.
Yeah, I mean, so a lot of, and we were, going from island to island in boats, a bunch of caravanning, and they start you on rum punch in the morning with breakfast, and rum punch for lunch, and then rum punch for snack, and then by the time the afternoon rolls around, they take you to a bar, and there's a pole in there, and I'm like, I can do this. And
I liked your leg hook technique swinging around the pole. I was impressed, Fred. I really was. I saw the video.
It was to try to keep me from falling down.
Because of the rum punch.
Yeah, and then they pulled out the karaoke machine, and God help us when that happened. And thankfully, that didn't get videoed, at least as far as I know.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
I can contact your wife and see if there is evidence of this.
All I know is that I didn't know I knew all of the words to ABBA's Dancing Queen. But apparently I do. So I guess I'll be adding that one to the band.
Add that to the playlist of the book.
The playlist, yeah.
Thanks for the warning.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be right back. And we're back. So let's switch gears here for a second. And hopefully.
Are we three on the tree shifting gears, or are we down here on the floor?
Don't get that linkage crossed.
Yeah, don't do that.
We'll have to put pause on the show again.
I don't think our show was on last weekend.
You don't think it was on last weekend? Why?
Yeah, because they interrupted it with the FSU baseball game. Because I was listening to the baseball game on 100.7, so folks might have missed that. They might want to go back and check out. It was a good show last week. I think they played a baseball game.
Good show. Well, they can stream it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Go back and listen to it.
I talked to Dale about that then, because if our show wasn't on there, then
you got money coming back.
Yeah, so we paid for a show that didn't get out there.
Yeah, I don't know what they've done with that, but yeah, the baseball game was on.
Well,
congratulations, FSU. Now, by the time this show airs, they will have been won or lost Friday night against Tennessee in the World Series.
Is it at night?
Yeah, 7 p.m. I think 7 Friday night 7.
Okay.
But the show airs Saturday after that, so we'll know.
I see.
Did you see?
Probably.
The Remington Ammo Vista sale is switched gears.
Something else has gone on with it. Yeah, some guy in Texas, some billionaire in Texas.
Well, that's not who they're selling it to. They've agreed to sell it to the Czechoslovakian company, and they feel like that's going to go through. And there's a Texas company that's offered more money, like another $1 billion on top of it, but they turned that offer down.
Why would you turn down an offer for more money?
Well, and he offered. Not only did he offer more money, he offered to pay a $247 million, basically $247 million to the Czech group to get out of the deal.
Why do they want this so bad?
That's a really good question that I'm having a hard time just looking at the. I'm having a hard time with the whole thing when you look at the people wanting to buy it. The people there's basically now 3 different entities that are competing for this thing. But anyway,
well, there was the entity that you had grave concerns about because of their liberal leanings.
Yeah, the Canadian. Well, the big Canadian company.
Okay. And then there was a company, the Czechoslovakian company owns Fiocchi.
Yep.
As well, and which was a better option than the liberal leaning investor group.
Right.
But then you got a Texas company that's offered more money. We'll see how that shakes out. But the fact is these companies change hands all the time, and it's a global economy.
Well,
however,
the scariest part about the whole thing was when, to me, when Federal Ammunition bought. So Vista Group was before it acquired Remington. It was just Federal, CCI, Spear. So it was one of the domestic manufacturers, and Remington was a different one. Well, Federal bought Remington during the Remington Ammo during Remington's final bankruptcy that split Remington up into 13 pieces. So you basically have domestic ammo big manufacturers. You have Federal, Remington, and all their little subsidiaries, and then Winchester Olin. And Winchester Olin is who provides most of the military ammo. So a lot of their production, a lot of Winchester Olin or Olin companies, domestic ammo manufacturer is dedicated to military contract stuff. And then you had the White House come in there and basically say, you're not going to sell, you're going to fulfill our contract, and you're not going to sell anything to the commercial side. So that cut the commercial ammo by 25% that Winchester Olin was providing.
That's what accounted for the recent ammo shortage?
Not completely, but it's all part of it. And it's an international, ammunition and ammunition components is very much an international, it's an international business.
You'd be hard-pressed to find ammunition that doesn't have some foreign component in it somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Fiocchi is an Italian company that's now owned by the Czech company, and they produce more primers internationally than all the other ones, all the domestic ones here.
So your
and
primer's going to be from
which created an issue during COVID
because
because Italy shut down.
Yeah, it did.
And so there were no primer production.
So that was the
Italy.
big COVID ammunition shortage was primarily due to Fiocchi being, when the country shut down for over 30 days, they're not making millions of primers a month or whatever. So it's just one of those. And Eastern Europe produces a lot of gunpowder. A lot of the gunpowder comes from Eastern Europe.
I thought it came from China.
No, lead comes from China.
Lead.
Yeah, we don't smelt lead here anymore.
No,
So
not
most lead, the lead that we recover. Correct me if I'm wrong. Most of the lead that we recover in our shooting berms gets shipped to China.
Yes.
Really?
And
China
then,
and Mexico.
Yeah.
So
Don't have a choice. There's no choice in that matter.
so what do you
the
go out there with like
the EPA's involved.
how do you get all that lead out of those shooting berms out there?
Machinery.
A company has invented a dry trommel, basically, like you see on the gold mining shows, where they use water. They have a dry trommel system that they go in there and scoop all that dirt out of the berms down there, and they put it in this dry trommel machine that shakes and vibrates and
Basically sifts the lead.
Sifts the
most lead rounds that go through paper targets are intact in the berm.
Sure.
So you're just silt, and we put sand in there, and so you're shooting into sand, and they just basically vibrate that and sift it.
I didn't know y'all did that. How many times a year do you do it?
No, we do it every 3
About
years,
every 3 years.
3 years.
About every 3 years.
We have to have a lead mitigation plan for any shooting range, and our plan is where some places actually pay somebody to go clean it up. We have somebody come in here and mine it, and we receive
share.
a portion of the profits for the sale of that lead.
So
It's not much, but it helps.
Give me an idea of how many pounds of lead do you get every 3 years, do you think?
Last year they took 58,000 pounds.
58,000 pounds.
Yeah.
I remember y'all told a story one of the last times you were sharing this, maybe a few years ago. The last time it happened, I think you said, you got those tractor trailers that kind of have a natural bend to them, and then by the time it got
the
out,
other way.
it was basically flat.
58,000 pounds doesn't really mean a lot, but to the average person who doesn't understand trucking but it wasn't it wasn't one tractor trailer load, was it?
No, it was two flatbed semi truck. I think it was 2.5 flatbed semi truck loads of lead.
So
They give these big, huge, giant Tyvek bags. They got these big bags with handles on them, and they'll put. They're I don't know the cubic feet of the bags, but they're huge. 10 of us could get in one of these bags, and they'll put about 2,500 pounds of lead in each one of these bags, and then they set them on a pallet and load the pallets on the truck.
So what is, say, a 100-grain bullet? What's the weight of that?
100 grains.
How many in ounces and pounds?
How many millions of rounds did we figured we got out of berm the first time?
I think I calculated it the first time, and it was like a 1.5 million. If you averaged out to 100 grains or 115 grains, you got 55 grain full metal jacket ball ammo, 55 grain, 223, and then your average. Let's just say your average 9mm bullet weighs 115 grains, and I kind of did an average of all that, just hypothetical, and it was about 1.5 million bullets.
Yeah.
$1.5 million bullets.
That was the first time. And so now we've had this done like three or four times.
We've had it done 3 times
yeah,
here,
so
I remember.
it's an ongoing thing now, which tells you how much ammunition goes through a place like this.
That's a lot of shooting.
Well, it is, and we are able to capture that and recycle that. I mean, so that's a good thing. Lead, they make it out like lead. I think the Obama administration wanted to declare lead as
all the last 2 foundries in the U.S. or the last 2 smelters to go out of business was the DEA.
But it's very much contained. It doesn't migrate.
No,
because it's heavy. It sits there.
It just sits there, and it doesn't. It's not like it
seeps
through the soil.
Our range was built with a drainage system to capture all of that. It's no different than stormwater runoff. Sure. Everything has to settle. And so whatever if there is anything that migrates down into the drains, it goes to a settling pond and then has to go up over an overflow. And you know that lead is not going to float. That's one of the laws of physics, I think was defined Einstein. I think the theory of lead don't float. Yeah. And it was, so all our lead stays here. And then we mine that out as we can.
That's the DEA. It's EPA. The EPA under Obama basically put all of the lead melting, lead smelting companies in the U.S. completely out of business. They made the.
Now, do you think they
which
did
is going to suck in war?
Yeah.
Yeah, do you think they did that with the idea of restricting your Second Amendment rights?
No, I think it was done with I don't think that was the primary thing. I think they put a lot of chemical businesses out of business and moved them to somebody else's shores, but just to cut down on pollution,
Like
general
China.
pollution. So the problem is that, our pollution standards are, they're very high. We can't do, the coal plants or, the Schultz coal plant that my grandfather retired from over on the Apalachicola River is torn down now because they burned coal to heat water to make electricity. So, it's one of those things where, we're clean as all get out, but India and China combined are way worse than we were 75 years ago. And we just pushed it to a different part of the globe, and this is really a small little planet that we're on here, and it still affects us. It just affects us in a different way.
Yeah, they're not going to be driving electric cars in 10 years.
No.
We're all downwind from somebody.
Yeah, everybody they're playing little blue marble spinning around in space is everybody's downwind from somebody eventually.
Dump stuff in the ocean, those currents. You're downstream from somebody.
Oh, they're measuring radiation in California right now from the Fukushima, whatever, from Japan, from the last time the tsunami hit over there and flooded the nuclear plant. They're measuring stuff in California on the other side of the Pacific Ocean. So
I wonder if it got over to Destin and affected those sharks.
It might have did.
I mean, they're eating people over there.
Yeah.
And of course, that's where I got a condo rented in about 2 months. I told my wife, I said, y'all won't be swimming unless the sharks is gone.
I hope.
Now I can tell you what's wrong with that is you can't keep sharks or kill sharks anymore. There's
I hope Joe Biden's uncle don't go over there. I mean,
We'll be back in just a minute. And back. So I sold my John boat.
Dang, that was quick.
Well, yeah, that's what I said when I put it on Facebook Marketplace, and I said, I don't know the prices. Let me just get it going. And I sold it in like 10 minutes.
really?
Put it on Facebook. I said, well, I didn't ask enough money, obviously.
Yeah.
But there's the cool part is that when I'd gotten it serviced last year, and I hadn't run it, and I parked it in the shed, and the oil was dripping, leaking on the floor, and I couldn't figure out what it was. Wasn't nothing but the oil filter was not quite tight enough. When you tilt that thing up, the oil sits there where there's pool in there where the oil filter is, and so I tightened it up, put a little bit of oil in there, top it off, put it out there, sold it. A gentleman came all the way over from Chipley, bought it for his 16-year-old son.
Cool.
And he said, well, my son and his grandpa, I guess maybe the father-in-law, so I don't know. They're all into this, and he'll be so excited. He wanted to know where I was going, and I wouldn't tell him, and I'm going to surprise him with this when I get home. And so I've had that John boat for a minute or two.
Yeah.
I mean, it was an 09, and that's the one we've set bush hooks in. We've been on the river and all that stuff. So I had some, I've had the family out time and time again. My daughter's in that boat, my adult daughter's in that boat, and but it's too small to really function as a family boat. And if I've got time to get on the river, it's going to be with family now, not just me or me and one person. It needs to be everybody because I have to find time. So it just had to go.
Boat?
It was a 25 horse, 4-stroke, fuel injected Mercury. That now you had to pull the cord to crank it. So
Fred, ask you a question.
You gonna get a new boat?
Am I going to get a new boat? I'm going to start looking at boats.
What kind of boat you gonna look at?
I'm probably going. I mean, honestly, where I'm looking right now is I had that old Grizzly aluminum boat. I'd be fine with something like that in like a 2072 or something, wider and longer.
I think I
So
can see
center
you
center
I can see you in
console
a
maybe.
pontoon boat.
I've owned several pontoon boats. I won't ever buy another one
I mean,
because I use them for a little while, and then I'll put them under the carport for a while, and I'm fixing dry rot and problems and issues. And if I was like Paul and I was on it all the time, it would be different. If I had it floating in the water, But for me to use a pontoon boat, I got to haul it somewhere. I got to put it in the water. I run the risk of backing up into the river, which has happened. And, it's
I think he should buy a 38-foot Freeman.
That's what I'm thinking.
I'm thinking that's what he should buy, Fred.
I'm
and then
thinking-
I
That'd be
will,
nice.
out of the goodness of my heart,
I can't do it.
I will captain.
I don't go offshore.
I will.
Well, you don't have to worry about
listen, listen. I got a deal for you
You
now.
gonna catch the fish for me, bring 'em in?
captain the boat.
I mean, I'll be the first mate.
I run. Fred be the first mate.
I
We'll
can
run.
help you.
We'll run charters.
the plane.
DT's in on this.
Yeah, it sounds
So
good.
you buy the Freeman. I'll We'll captain. We'll bring you some fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll
yeah.
bring you some
Okay.
fresh grouper and snapper.
Filleted up, ready to cook.
And we could name it Sorry Charlie or something, you know?
There you go. Sorry, Charlie, we're going on the boat again.
I refuse to fund your good time.
Oh, gosh. Man,
You know
just
what
like
a
that.
you know what a
Gone.
38-foot Freeman cost?
It'd be like all of our houses combined.
Yeah, it's about $1 million. They're about $1 million bucks.
About $1 million.
Yeah, they're about $1 million bucks.
The,
What you
hand, me
pointing
that,
at?
hand me that card.
Hand me.
What's he got?
Never mind. So yeah, I was
It'd
Yeah, I
be a
was
good
sitting there
deal for
thinking-
one of us, Charlie. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
well.
It
It
sounds
brings
good. That's a
back
good
to
point.
mind Jason Keene's little boat that when he won Redneck of the Week with us, he had that little. What was that?
10 foot. A 10-foot.
Was it 10?
I think it
might have
was.
been like 8 or
8
something. You know,
8
that
foot
little old
John
John
boat.
boat that he was putting around on Ochisi Pond with, and when I was looking at my boat, I went, it's only 4 feet longer than his. It's like, but I saw just talking about Jason. I've been following on Facebook. Pookie's still around, little bird dog. He's getting old, man. But he's my Facebook feed is filled up with GSP videos. Nothing but dadgum German short-haired pointers.
That's good.
That's all I say. That's what I wake up in the morning. I watch GSP videos, and then I have a face full of GSP jump up in the bed and have to pet her every morning. So I want to circle back and touch base on some of the stuff that's going to have something to do with DT in here. As if you didn't hear the first part of the show, DT's the national sales manager for Lasershot Simulations for law enforcement and corrections, and you're all constantly traveling and promoting. You're going to Texas next week, I think.
Yeah,
and
I'll be in Texas next week.
I don't know if I'm supposed to say that or
No,
not. Does
yeah,
your wife
no,
know you're going to Texas?
She does.
next
She
week?
does. I think
Is
she's
that the
already
story
packed
you
me
told
up.
her? That's what you
No,
said anyway.
She has me packed up all ready to go. Yes,
She
sir.
doesn't have to pull you off a pole in a bar in
No,
the Bahamas,
no,
does she?
No,
Okay.
she does not.
All right.
She just lets you go on.
I'm gonna start instruction. We're gonna make that one of the classes at Talon. Pole dancing by Fred.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Man, if a pole shows up out here in this classroom, I'm done. I'm going home.
Well,
I
we
won't
got
be allowed to
we
come
got
back.
that Mercedes van out there. It needs a pole to hang on to while we're driving down the road on those bumpy roads. But anyway, so we've had some stuff happen recently that brings into the what if scenarios and the different stuff, and I think it's appropriate, maybe a good time to talk about it. So recently in Lee County, Florida, Florida man. I don't know if he's a Florida man or not, but he was in Florida and he was a man, I reckon. No, I don't want to misgender him or anything, but he goes into a bank, robs a bank, holds hostages with a knife. Now, a bank robbery with a knife, first off, ain't the best idea.
Nah.
You don't get as much prison time. This guy got life, but he
got death.
Well, yeah. He got a life sentence.
Yeah.
he did
All
not.
3 seconds of it.
Yeah, and so he's holding, and the Lee County, I think it's Lee County Sheriff's Office SWAT team shows up, goes into the bank. I would say, let's say they're negotiating, like put the knife down, come out, no, boom.
Well, no. There
And
was some negotiation going on.
Yeah, so they tried. They did everything they could to try to get him to give up, but the guy was escalating. The guy's got a knife to somebody's throat, and so the robber, took cover behind, of all things, a computer monitor.
Yeah.
And apparently he didn't get the memo on the difference between cover and concealment.
Yeah.
So he took concealment behind a computer monitor that was about the size of his head, and the SWAT sniper was able to discern where his head was behind said computer monitor, and I wonder what that guy's last thought was as he's looking at that computer monitor and that little tiny hole showed up in the middle of it.
Well,
It was about a 30 caliber hole. It went right through his head.
308. So the two observations I made on that. One, the computer monitor was still working after it was shot.
I heard that.
So I don't know what brand that was, but we need to find out because I want one. And the second observation that I made was the sniper lined up on used the shoulder of his colleague
Yeah.
as the rest for.
We're trained to do that.
And I'm going, if I'm the guy with the.
Don't sneeze.
Yeah, I mean, and I got you behind me, and I can't see you, and you got something resting on my shoulder, I'm going to feel a little odd.
Yeah. So
And I don't. How do you stay
so
that still?
here's how you train to do that is the person who's behind the rifle has to communicate with the other person. And I've had somebody shoot over my back, off my shoulder. I mean, this is stuff we train to do. And so you have to, he goes, you communicate, and he'll go, okay, stand by. And you just stop breathing. No different than if you were, it's okay, stand by in 3, 2, 1, and then you just exhale and relax. And you just stay as still as you can. At the distances that they're talking about, I mean, if you're shooting at 1,000 yards, you're not probably going to pull that off. 500 yards, 200 yards, you're not going to be able to pull that off because there's always inherent
15,
movement.
20 yard shot?
Most law enforcement shootings are sniper shootings are within 70 yards or less. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's about average. So we train at 100 and we shoot further than that, but really and truly, most sniper shootings in law enforcement are 70 yards, and most handgun shootings, JD, are within a car length.
7 yards or less.
Yeah,
Most
so
handguns,
the length of a
21
car.
feet.
This was about a 15-yard shot,
right.
maybe?
So it goes back to training. There was a bus, DT Shut sent me a thing on a bus hostage situation in Atlanta that just occurred where a passenger on the bus was killed, and they took the bus down and got the guy off the bus. Unfortunately, the bad guy survived, and someone else, I think, was deceased. But linear training,
linear assaults,
linear assaults, tubular assaults, the same kind of thing, which is extremely dangerous, and somebody's going to get hurt when you do that type of thing. So it goes back to training, and as it relates back to the laser shot stuff and the scenario based, this Lasershot Simulations, when it goes to that is all about, because you can do that. DT, can't you? We got AR-15s.
Yes, sir.
And so you.
All of that, what you're talking about, those hypothetical, high-risk, highly probable situations, changing it up with the shooters, the training to get that best possible outcome through, de-escalation communication, if so, but making those shots, and with those distance, JD and Charlie mentioned.
So the Atlanta shooting, was that the person that died, were they shot by friendly fire, or was...
We don't know.
Yeah, we
it's too early. It just occurred.
Oh.
The problem with snipers and AR-15s, either one of those rifles, the problem with close range encounters with those guns that are designed for long range encounters is the holdover. No, it's the holdover. It's your sight, your line of sight, your sights on the rifle or your scope or your red dot or whatever it is, or your scope on a high powered rifle is 2 to 3 inches higher than your bore. Mm-hmm. No, we're not talking about trajectory. I'm talking about
trajectory involved. We're talking about the sight versus the barrel.
The scope is mounted 3 inches above the bore a lot of times. So you 2 or 3 inches above. So at really close range, you're hitting 2 to 3 inches low.
So Fred, if somebody came through that door right now with an AR-15,
yeah,
and you turned and looked, and they put the front sight post or the red dot right there at the bridge of your nose, that hit you in the top teeth. Because there's a distance, there's a difference, and when you sight that in for longer, and then the same thing is if you're in a classroom. So we take that AR-15 we've got over there with this laser shot machine,
right.
And I'm working, and we've run into this before, where we're in a classroom environment, and we sight that AR in. We have to keep it realistic, and at the distances that we're dealing with inside of a classroom, we have to make sure that it's hitting, 2.5 inches low, because if I'm doing that scenario, then I've got to acknowledge. And we do the MP5s. We put sights on MP5s, and knowing that when we did a room entry, and SWAT team's doing a room entry, and most room entries are about the size of our studio here, and at 4, 5, 6 yards away, and that's fine.
And it's really low because the height of your line of sight on an MP5 is much higher than the board.
Oh yeah, especially if you put a sight on top of it. And the thing is if you go into a room, okay, so if I aim for the bridge of your nose, and I'm trying to get in this
ocular window,
optical, and the sinus cavity here where the skull is the weakest, and it's sort of a triangle there. We actually put triangles on some of our targets, and that simulates that. So, and I aim for that. I'm going to hit you here in the top of the teeth. It's going to go through, and it's going to interrupt your spinal column, your brain stem. And that's fine. But if you turn your head, and I'm now aiming for your temple, and I'm hitting you in the jaw, all I'm going to do is remove some teeth. I'm not going to kill you.
No, but this guy, he shot the guy in the forehead, so
absolutely, that shut him down. Well, he probably had to account for that.
That's
at that
what
distance.
I'm wondering.
He absolutely did, and that's why training is such a critical component. And it's and the thing is, the hard part about training is like right now we had a rifle school out here last weekend, and there's 100-degree heat, and you're trying to get adult learners to learn in 100-degree heat, and it's just all they can do to stay upright. And you give them cold water, do all that kind of stuff, but we can put people into a classroom environment and do countless numbers of repetitive scenarios and over and over and over and over again in a comfortable, climate-controlled environment where your brain's actually learning. And therein, when we do our scenarios for our civilian classes here, we can sit there and actually people can digest information, we can induce stress, we can do all this kind of stuff. There's so many things that we can do. Even now with DT with the gunshot box, that thing makes that loud noise. I mean, that gets your blood flowing pretty quick.
It does.
But the point I want to make in this segment was there are real life situations going on every day. We have to train to those things, be it civilians. But we're fixing to kick off a series with
Right to Bear.
Right to Bear. We're going to be doing those scenarios for civilians coming up very soon. You'll be listening to those. Be right back. And we're back. So to clarify, because Paul had a good question, it was about, we keep talking about laser shot stuff. And now, if anybody out there has ever been through our basic class, we do laser shot simulations after about the first, how many years did we do?
We probably did airsoft stuff for about two, maybe 3 years that we did. So in the last 8 years, 9 years, if you've done our class, you've been on the laser shot.
We've done the laser shot system since then. And we watched the technology evolve. We watched the company change. We watched all this stuff occur. And now we've invested in the latest state-of-the-art stuff. So DT says. Can't wait to get our hands on it. This week's coming in this week.
He is the sales director, so his goal is to sell. But
and it seems to be the fastest growing one around here because I keep hearing stories about different people wanting to get into it, different agencies and schools and stuff, and that's awesome. So, but to answer Paul's question, what it is it's a projector that projects. It's a PowerPoint projector. Shows videos on the wall.
Big.
And you can big with just like life size. And it's got everything in there. And the thing is, you have a pistol that you hold in your hand. It's a Glock or a SIG 320, I think y'all might. And it fires an infrared laser inside there, so you can pull the trigger.
An actual real gun that you could.
And there are blowback versions of it that work off compressed air, so that you have recoil, and then there's some that just click. And so the thing is you're firing a laser, and there's a camera that's looking for that infrared dot on the screen, and so it's playing a video that's been filmed with different results. And so if you and inside of that, in that software, which is really advanced, it follows the image on the screen, and it has a zone that if the dot lands, you shoot the dot in that center section where they have determined that this is a stopping shot, then you'll see the person in the video fall down. And there's taser stuff that you can use, tasers where they comply, handcuffs, compliance.
Pepper
you can
spray.
steer it. Yeah, you can steer this thing. There's a flashlight attachment, so you can black out the screen, and then if you shine the flashlight up wherever that flashlight laser hits, it actually illuminates that portion of the screen. I mean, and then you've got the qualification courses, you've got steel challenge stuff, you've got competitive shooting stuff that you can do. And the on one hand, you can manipulate the skills that you work on your skills and drawing from a holster, utilizing the handgun, flashlight techniques. You can put stuff in the environment where you're working from behind cover. Put a table up there. I like to use one of our folding tables and stick it up there, and then work. This is cover if you need to move to cover, and we work on that. With the rifle, you can use different techniques with that. Moving through a room, there's so many things that you can do with it.
Wow.
In a climate-controlled environment, you're going through the motions. Now, nothing replaces shooting live ammo on a range. You need to shoot live ammo on a range. You need to go through manipulation skills, reloading drills, and you can do that in this stuff too. But there's also qualification courses, and there's so much that you can do. I wish that there was a fishing version of this,
That's
so
what I was
we
thinking.
could, so
Yeah,
we
have
could
y'all
all
thought
go
about that?
fishing.
There are hunting versions.
Yeah,
So
there's hunting version. We need to do a fishing
squirrel hunting
version.
and duck
That's
hunting.
called
Yeah, that would
that's
be-
a segue. That's
That's
into
cool.
the.
That's cool because the
you
fish,
could have
the
like a-
fish have been biting.
You can throw the worm and it hits the screen.
Yeah. That's so. When this gets set up, me and Fred would definitely want to.
Well, we will put you. We have one now, but we're going to have the Mac Daddy here in a few days, and so yes, hopefully for the next show. Maybe what y'all do, y'all try to get here a little early. We'll run over there next week, and we'll put you through.
Now I do have a question about this before we get into fishing. Is that in a? I'm assuming it's in a room.
It doesn't have to be a complete. It doesn't have to be a completely dark room. Actually, the old technology required we couldn't have any infrared light coming in. We had to block everything out.
Right.
But this new system works way better than the old one. We've had that thing for 8 or 10 years. I mean, technology gets better over time.
Wow.
They're going to call it the
Just
red
like
room.
the red room.
Well, we're going to have a whole room set up for nothing but that down there.
Yeah.
But our
Down at the
system's
range.
portable. So if
Yeah.
there's people out there, and we're going to go do law enforcement training in the field, we're going to visit agencies. We already got a couple agencies lined up to do that with.
You setting it up in the main building or down at the range?
It's going to be down there where we do because the way we split our classes up. But we can put it in the classroom next door. For you, we'll bring it up here so you don't have to go all the way down there.
Yeah, that'd be a good thing.
But that's the cool part about it is this whole thing's portable. So, but we're going, and what we're doing with Right to Bear is we're gonna actually work with them to do some of the seminars that we've been filling up on active shooter and carry with confidence and things like that. We're going to, as soon as the machine gets here, we're going to figure out which scenarios we want to run, and we're going to bring in groups of people and let some of the students run some scenarios, and we're going to discuss the legal issues related to the scenario, and then talk about stress dynamics and all the things that go with it, and the importance of understanding how hard it is to react well and then turn around and tell your story right after that. So there's so many bridges that we can build. That said,
Yeah.
The fish have been biting.
yeah,
They have been biting. This past weekend there was a high school tournament. I think it took like 44 pounds to win.
Good gracious.
Man, and that's bigger than a 4 pound average.
like two of Fred's.
Yeah. Me and Nick Jeter, we had
I was down there with
was in a
scuba gear
tournament, and I set the hook on a big one. I was telling you about it, JD. I thought I broke a rib. I didn't have that rod tight, and that fish hit a frog, Fred. And I set the hook, and it reduced me. I didn't put it in the boat. But after I got off the front deck of the boat, we
You
finally
did. Wait a
catch
minute.
another one. It was a
You
big
set
one.
the rod so
I
hard
set
that
the
you
hook.
couldn't
I
get the
didn't
fish
have
in
my
the boat.
rod against my side.
Yeah.
And when that fish hit it about 30 yards away, and it was going the other direction, I put the hook to it. I thought I did. And that rod, it hit me and went up my side, and he just.
So Paul
he
pulled
kept
one
on
way
going.
and the fish pulled the other.
Yeah,
and
he
that,
won.
That
He
rod,
won.
That rod come back and bit him in the ribs.
It sure did. It's
So you
still- it's
didn't-
still-
you didn't
it's
actually
still a
hook the
little sore.
fish?
No, sir. Never even
No,
put a
you
hook
just-
in him. He
you just hooked your
he
ribs.
just beat me down.
Yeah.
But the bass are definitely biting. We was able to. We end up being able to catch two big ones that day on frogs and end up coming third in the tournament,
There you go.
and end up getting Angler of the Year for the year in the Real Money Trail, and that was awesome. But the bass have been biting pretty good. The mayflies, man, the mayflies has been more mayflies this year than I've seen 10. I don't remember seeing this many.
Them and cicadas must have got together and decided to extra.
Boy,
Yeah.
I was stopped.
We don't have cicadas down here, do we?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
got them.
I ain't never
seen
seen one with red eyes like they show it on TV.
Yeah,
but
we got none of that there around Milledgeville. But
we got them down here.
Yeah, okay, because I know we got the mayflies, and man, I tell you, they were from about Addie's Campground, which is Old Wingett's Lodge, all the way to the dam, all the way up to Hooch on Saturday night. And they were out in the middle part of the lake. They was just coming up. They come up from the bottom and trying to find the banks. But man, I tell you what, it was a bunch of them.
They're getting hit on.
Oh gosh, the brim were tearing them up. Brim's been biting good, and I think that's really what's causing them bass to feed on top, because all the brim are feeding on top right now. So it's been pretty good. If you can fight the heat,
You want to fly fish for brim now?
now would be the time to go.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Or if you don't, just get you some crickets in a quart.
Yeah, that's right.
No, I
Hit
gotta
a
be
cricket.
I got to be sophisticated. Wear my vest.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, you have to dress up to go.
Dress up like little Lord Fauntleroy
Yeah.
to go fishing.
I get kind of like when I play golf. I get those.
And then
knickers
y'all know
and-
that
and
the scallop season's open down in on the 15th in one of the zones.
so
down
I
there.
don't think it opens here
Right now.
in St. Joe Bay until like later.
Yeah,
this year.
that's correct. But I know at Finn Holloway, that area down there, it
Opens up there.
the 15th. Yep.
Yeah, the
I don't-
15th.
I don't,
It
with
used to
all
be-
the bull sharks in the water,
I don't
think
know
I'm
if
gonna
I'd wanna
pass
do
on
that.
the-
I
I
ain't
think
doing-
I'm gonna pass on the
That's
scallops.
JD,
Just
that's
saying.
like getting out where the big gators are and going, I'm gonna swim. I'm gonna walk around here in the gators and
Yeah.
no, I ain't doing that. I've been seeing some big ones up on Lake Seminole. Big ones.
And those sharks, I mean, they're biting people in 2-3 feet of water.
Yeah, knee-deep water.
Yeah, I don't need
Yeah, I
that.
ain't doing that.
I like my fish.
Well, knee-deep water for you, the shark probably can't swim.
No, he probably can't get there, but
And for whatever this too, if you're catching, do not clean your scallops and throw them the guts back in where you're actually scalloping at.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that might
tends
draw.
to.
There
That might draw some big.
There was a
sharks.
little girl down in Steenhatchee a
That
couple
happened.
years ago that
Sure
lost
enough.
a leg.
Oh,
that was
Lord.
doing exactly that. They
doing
were
that, yeah.
right there where everybody
uh-huh.
cleans their scallops on that little
Wow.
island down there.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
But man, I tell you, it's just you shallow water and sharks and don't get along.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Those things scare me.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Especially bull sharks.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
if we can get DT to they can develop a fishing part of laser tag, that'd be awesome.
well, they make a shark repellent now.
They're gonna work on it. I'll help with that.
That the problem is you can't spearfish with it because it'll repel the fish.
Yeah.
And if you go spearfishing, that happened to me a couple of years ago. I'm down with my son. He gut shot a grouper
Yeah.
and blood everywhere. And I'm like, get in the boat.
Yeah.
And we're headed to the boat, and he got in first, and I should have gotten in first because I looked down, and here comes that bull shark.
Oh no.
I mean, you want to talk about, the book of John?
That's right.
Because I should have had a robe and a beard, and you might have mistaken me for somebody else. I mean, because I was walking on water when I saw that thing. I mean,
I found a video of Fred fishing.
Tim Conway on fishing.
Dorf goes
Dorf
fishing.
goes fishing. See y'all next week.